Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Carlo Cardilli. I'm the head of product at Alpharank. Welcome to our conversations around best practices for growth through the online branch. Today, I'm thrilled to have Aaron Caid, Chief Marketing Officer of Christian Community Credit Union, joining us. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Carlo. It's great to be with you.
Fantastic. So for those of you in the audience who are new to the series, Alpharank is a guidance system for the online branch. Alpharank keeps your activities pointed towards the most dollar output from the online branch. We want to make it a heat-seeking missile that is relentlessly focused on balance sheet production. Any marketing activity you run, whether it's a targeted email, a postcard with a QR code, or a Google ad, will tell you exactly how many dollars you booked from that action, and most importantly, how to get more dollars per unit of action. Our system is trained on over 2 billion first-party data points from over 100 participating banks and credit unions. And from this model, we give you recommendations to curb abandonment, improve lead quality, and maximize dollar production. Visit us at alpharank.ai to learn more. So welcome to everybody in the audience today. We want your participation and your questions. You're going to be in listen-only mode at first. Submit your questions through the Zoom Q&A panel. When we get to the Q&A, we will unmute your line so you can ask the question live, so we can have a real interaction. If you're not comfortable with that, we'll read it out for you. All participants will get a follow-up email from Alpharank with the links to the recording and other information that may come up in the discussion. So, to today's topic, many in the industry wonder if it's possible for a small institution to drive deposits through an aggressive digital strategy. So today I invited Aaron from Christian Community, as the entire success of the credit union hinges on the online branch for them. Aaron, welcome.
Thank you.
So to introduce you to the audience, a little bit about you. You're the CMO of Christian Community. They provide banking services nationwide and abroad as well to those who align with the credit union statements of faith. We first met, it was a memorable lunch last year. We watched Argentina beat the Netherlands at the World Cup. We both have a bond to the Albi Celestes. We support them when our national teams are not involved. But before we get into that, any fun facts you'd like to share with the audience, your background, and how you got to Christian Community, what you're trying to do there?
Yeah, I've spent most of my career in financial services, marketing, and product development. I've worked at some of the big banks like JP Morgan, Chase, and Citi. But when I learned of the opportunity that the CMO opportunity at Christian Community Credit Union a little over 3 years ago, it was quite compelling. I mean, to find when the recruiter contacted me, and I found that I could do what I love to do professionally, which is marketing to consumers for financial services products, but then combine it with my faith. I thought, this is exactly where I need to be. I'm about to celebrate my 3rd anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow. All right. So talk about the kind of the regime change, from the larger institutions. Christian Community, about 880 million in assets, just in one branch. But this nationwide audience scope of service. So the online branch has got to be the one and only growth engine for the credit union. So tell us more.
Exactly. Yeah, we serve Christians in all 50 states, and that's both consumers as well as ministries. In fact, the driving force for the founding of the credit union 66 years ago, and what really keeps us going today is being able to help fund church growth. So when consumer members join the credit union and entrust their deposits with us, it helps us provide affordable financing to build new churches and to help ministries grow. And that's coming through the online channel. To be able to serve a nationwide audience with only a single branch in Southern California, we've got to be at the top of our game.
Yeah. So the theme for today that I wanted sort of to deepen with you was the importance of sustained small incremental gains. At first it can seem overwhelming to try and get the online branch to work, but there's some really interesting simple math. Say you can just be a little better every month, just 7% better every month. but these gains build on each other with compound interest. And now 6 months later, you're 50% better, and you can just keep going. So tell us a little bit about your experience with these small, sustained, incremental gains.
Well, back when I joined the credit union 3 years ago, we were doing very little in terms of digital marketing. Most of the marketing was happening through offline channels, through advertisements and publications, Christian publications, and we were really missing out on a big portion of the Christian community in this country. So we've, over the last 3 years, have really been trying to build our digital presence. In fact, we now acquire the vast majority of our new members digitally. They're not opening an account in the branch. They're not doing it on the phone. They're doing it in the online channel purely. And our digital channels are our best performing ones, as well as the most measurable ones. And we kind of took a stepwise approach to doing this. We got started on digital marketing, which was important. We got started with an intentional and robust paid search strategy, but we had to really tackle the fact that we had very low website traffic off of which to build, off of which to convert. So the first focus was really building the application flow, driving traffic to the website that started an application. And since we've started working with you guys at Alpharank, the insights we've gotten have allowed us to actually quintuple.
Quintuple. Wow.
In the year and a half we've been working together, the number of app starts that we're generating off our website traffic is quintupled. The next thing we needed to do, because clicks are fine, website traffic's fine. It's not what we're in business to do. We're in business to serve members.
I'm gonna point to the thing behind me right there.
Exactly. So we then had to address the quality of that traffic from from a purchase intent perspective, and through insights that we gathered from working with Alpharank, we're able to increase the volume of those who started the application and then completed it. We've quadrupled that volume over the last year and a half. But again, a submitted app is not the end game, right? It's an important step. So then we had to address the quality of the traffic from both the credit quality and fraud perspective, and ensure that our marketing strategies were aligning with reaching audiences with the best credit quality and the lowest incidence of fraud. And in doing that, through insights we've gotten from Alpharank, we've nearly tripled the number of funded accounts that we get per month. And so ultimately by aligning our paid media campaigns with the bottom line outcome, which is a funded account, we've been able to reduce the cost per funded account by half.
Fantastic. So let's talk about this incremental approach, because you touched on a lot of areas across the credit union. So tell us about this collaborative effort that you had to bring together to get everybody to work on the same page.
Well, before we started working together, we were really blind to what our marketing strategies were generating. We could see the clicks, we could see the traffic, we could see the number of folks who hit apply now, but we couldn't see what happened to that volume. We were blind to what happened within Meridian Link, and when we started working with Alpharank, and you guys, we placed the magic snippet on the
the magic tag. That's right.
We now suddenly got visibility to what was happening with that traffic at a very granular level, not just the marketing strategy, but then the traffic source and where our advertising placement was generating the best quality traffic, what was resulting in that booked account. So just overcoming, getting out of the dark on what our campaigns were generating, being able to optimize to a funded account outcome as opposed to trying to maximize traffic or even maximize application starts has helped us greatly. You know, in the first place we started with you guys was to look at the journeys, the application journeys. You know, what happens to a prospect when they hit our website, all the way through to a funded account. And in those very early days, I remember looking at a couple different application journeys where we could see that where we're losing volume. We were just bleeding out volume at different steps in that process, and then identifying, you know, we're losing volume on questions that are not essential for being able to underwrite a loan or to be able to verify that somebody is who they say they are. And if you're asking a question that doesn't accomplish one of those two things, it's just taking time and increasing cognitive load on an applicant that aren't generating the bottom line outcome. So being able to see that, we were able to streamline the application.
Folks are there to get a checking account, not to take an IQ test.
Exactly. Not to tell you how they found out about you. So it's you know, and when you know, we saw a dramatic improvement just then. You know, just streamlining the application, and we started to increase the percentage of application starts that resulted in a submitted app. You know, it doubled in the course of just a couple of months.
I think your team also did some really great work around the landing pages and streamlining the landing pages. So I think it'd be useful just to place this in context. Tell us a little bit about your team. Tell us about, you know, who is placing the ads, your stack website, the point of sale, the back office, what you have for CRM, just to give a complete picture to the folks on this.
Sure. I have a team of 6. 2 of those 6 people are primarily focused on creative development. So they're our design team. 1 person is focused on digital marketing, especially SEM, but also other areas of digital. 1 is primarily focused on member engagement, so a lot of existing member marketing, and then 2 are involved in various areas of planning and analysis. So it's a lean team, but focused on what I think are the most important areas of marketing. We partner with Meridian Link as our LOS, and we use with Clutch as the front end UI for our lending products. It's a more streamlined UI. The application ends up in Meridian Link once it's submitted. So Meridian Link is still the LOS there. It's a more streamlined UI. HubSpot is our CRM. It's our marketing automation solution. We're using it for sales automation as well, and that's primarily our ministry sales team, which is, you could think of as B2B primarily. And then we're using it on a more limited basis for service. And then we use Alpharank for strategy improvement and insights. And we've just, we do a lot of the ad placements ourselves. A lot of that we manage in-house. But so we're working with another organization called American Eagle on our website. So they helped us redesign our website a little over a year ago, and helped us build that in WordPress, and they now help us host and manage that too.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on that because the WordPress sort of platform gives you an interesting level of fine-grained control where you can go and create pages and test things out far better than if it was, some other less friendly host. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and it's also something that it's also a CMS that marketing professionals can manage. You don't have to have a high level of technical or coding expertise to be able to work with WordPress as a CMS. But we have a lot of flexibility in building out landing pages for campaigns, for partners, that really help us read performance down to that level, to be able to track how somebody found the website, and then track them through all the way to a funded account. And again, a lot of being able to track that through the process. We couldn't do that before we started working with you guys, and now we have that visibility, and now that data carries through the whole process and ends up in our core.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about, those hidden trapdoors in the application process that you discovered. What was it like to work with operations to work to sort of streamline that back end of the process?
And some of that's still a work in progress. I'm very fortunate that we share the same goals as our operations team and as our lending teams. I mean, our goals are to acquire new members, to grow deposits, and to grow funded loans. And so we play different roles in achieving those goals, but being held accountable to the same set of goals is very helpful for getting alignment on improvements. And in some cases, you don't really know where your processes have gaps or are broken or have bottlenecks until you can see it in the data, right? An outsider may be able to come and look and say, well, that's a little too manual, or why are you doing this step or that step? But if this is something that you've been doing over the years, it's hard to see until you see it in black and white in the data. And that's really been the motivational force, is to see where we're losing, where we were losing volume, and where we still have opportunities to improve, in terms of the cycle time it may take to book a new loan, or to book a new deposit account. And then when you start to look at why that is, you start to see, there are more steps here than there need to be. We're doing things that are maybe not 100% mission critical for being able to underwrite a loan, or being able to verify the identity of an applicant. And then you can focus on either removing those or streamlining them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that I think came out last summer, or maybe it was last fall, is that we identified there were a number of campaigns you were running that were attracting, and I'm going to be careful here in labeling them, but a high proportion of undesirable applicants. Sometimes your back office would label them as fraud. Perhaps we could describe them as credit challenged or ultra thin file. But I think the bottom line is that they're just folks that you could not approve for membership. Either the qualifier was not there, or maybe they're not aligned with your statement of faith. So talk to us a little bit about that, about essentially not paying for fraud or not paying for low quality applicants.
Well, being able to see what each traffic source, or and not just strategy, but what each traffic source is generating in terms of fraud and poor credit quality, we just stopped investing in those areas. Display advertising, for example, was great for driving traffic. It was great for raising awareness of the credit union, but it was attracting a really poor credit quality prospect, and it was attracting its fair share of fraud too. And so we stopped investing in that channel, and we've on a more targeted basis have found aspects of social media marketing that generate poor outcomes as well, that we've reduced spending in to increase it in other areas that are generating a better return. And we can also see that within paid search. Not every paid search campaign is equally driving good credit quality or low incidence of fraud. So it's just having the insights on what the outcomes are, what the dispositions of those applications are from each traffic source, allows us to direct our investment into the most productive channels, the most productive sources.
Yeah, certainly I've noticed a shift in the dialogue with you on our success calls. And now that we have this higher quality of applicant, a lot of the conversations are now around, well, we got, 50, A+ applicant based on credit scores. Where are we with approving these folks? And what is the turnaround on approval? And, why is it taking so long? So I think it gives you like a different, dialogue to have with operations, where it's now you can focus on response times.
Exactly. And focus on, the areas of the process where we can streamline and make lives better for our staff as well as the applicants.
Yeah, I think you had some lofty goals on auto approvals. We hope to be able to work with you to get there. Well, in your ideal state, where would you be on approval, speed, and decisioning?
Well, with credit card, I can say I would like to be at very close to 100% auto decisioning, not auto approval, but auto decisioning. And I think that's kind of the expectation among folks out there shopping for a credit card. You don't expect to have to wait more than a minute or two to know the outcome. When it comes to a more considered purchase, such as an auto loan, and when especially where there are stipulations involved, that an auto decisioning is a less realistic, I think, goal. But just shortening that time frame so that you're responding to an applicant while that information is still useful, while they're shopping for the car, right? Knowing that they've got the money in hand. So I think tightening that time frame up, even if it's not an auto decision, but at least it's something that is measured in minutes and hours as opposed to days.
And what about deposits, where as a consumer, I'm giving you my money. You are my creditor, so I should be the one asking all the questions.
Yeah, and well, that's very true, and that's I think we still have work to do on the application process itself to make that more streamlined. But I'd like to be at a place where we are, where we are instantly opening memberships for new deposit customers and in getting their account funded in session. I mean, that we have the tools to do it, and we are able to do it a portion of the time. I'd love to get to a place where we're doing that for anyone except for somebody we flagged it as fraud. And fraud is a concern. I mean, identity theft and fraud, even though it's a deposit product and in theory they're giving you their money, in some cases it's
it's not theirs.
It's not their money.
That's right. That's right. Oh, well, thank you for that. So at this point, I'd like to turn to the Q&A section. So Josh, what questions do we have that have come in from the audience so far?
Yeah, so far from Anonymous, we have, how are you pushing members to apply for loans online?
So we're doing that through our advertising. If the question is how are we pushing existing members to apply for loans online, that's really our membership base is spread out across all 50 states. That's really the most streamlined and easiest way for them to apply for a loan. So as we utilize HubSpot to engage our member base, to cross-sell products, to identify product needs and attempt to meet those needs. So it's really the easiest and most streamlined way to apply for a loan with our credit union. Somebody who lives near our single branch in San Dimas could, in theory, show up at the branch and go through that application. And there are a few people who do that, but the vast majority of members are applying for and getting and funding new loans with us through the online channel.
Awesome. Another anonymous one is, how do you get compliance on board with all of this?
I mean, compliance is very involved in all of this. I mean, we're there's really nothing the compliance risk of booking an account online can be absolutely contained with how you communicate with a prospect or with a member and the disclosures that you deliver. Having a robust application process that is getting their consent at the appropriate times and recording those consents so that you can prove that to your internal auditors and to your external auditors is important. And then just having the documented approval. We use DocuSign in session, and deliver our disclosures electronically. So compliance has been a very active partner in this, and understands the importance of being able to deliver on the needs of prospects and members digitally.
Right. A question from another one from the audience, from Chris. He asks, can you elaborate on the level of detail you're seeing in the reporting to determine the ROI on the campaigns?
I mean, we're able to see this down at the application level if we want to. I don't tend to look at it at that level of detail, but we're able to match marketing spend by strategy, by audience even, with booked accounts, booked memberships that come as a result of that advertising. So it gives us a very precise measurement of return on investment. And something that we use even more than that because it's a more immediate measurement, is just the cost per booked account, and which channels are generating that most cost effectively.
Makes sense, definitely. A great question just came in from Elise. Chris says thank you, by the way. Great question came in from Elise talking about, can you elaborate a bit more on paying for fraud, as you were discussing it before? Because they've seen a massive increase on their end of fraudulent applications, and they just added funding via Plaid into their application flow, and they just want to, hear a bit more about how you were able to tackle it.
Yeah, we've we also use Plaid, and we also have several identity verification tools that through Experian that we're utilizing. And fraud is a pervasive issue for I think all credit unions, for all financial institutions. And we've upgraded our fraud detection tools a couple of times in the 3 years I've been with the credit union. And you have to, with that, you have to ensure that you're catching the fraud, but you also want to be careful that you're not generating a lot of false positives either, and saying no to good applicants. So that's always the balancing act we're playing with there. And I think that as the tools that we're using get better, we've reduced the false positive rate. That's been probably the biggest improvement, even beyond stopping fraud before it can happen.
That's awesome. That's the key, to catch it right away. Another question just came in. James from Interna asks, they're working with an agency, and the agency claims that all of this can be done with Google Analytics. Can you kind of break down the difference? Oh, I like that smile.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say we were using Google Analytics before, and we still use it. But Google Analytics can't tell us it can tell us a lot of things up to the point that somebody hits submit on an application. But without having insights into what is happening within MeridianLink, and it's hard. It's really hard to know what's working and what's not working. If what you're aiming for is funded accounts, you have to have that last set of steps to know what that submitted application generated in terms of a disposition, and what percentage of that is resulting in an approval and a funded account. So Google Analytics, unfortunately, doesn't tell us that. We needed the insights from Alpharank to be able to understand what was happening within MeridianLink after the application was submitted.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. There are a few more questions coming in, and I apologize. I'm just trying to clarify them as we go as well. But a great one, just in general, overall, you kind of talked about this with seeing the low quality deposit applications and all the bad qualified scores coming through. And just if you don't mind talking a bit to that again about how, is that the way of the market you're seeing, or is this something that you can definitely improve upon?
You can definitely improve upon. I mean, fraud is pervasive in the industry. I think I can say that definitively, just based upon conversations I've had with my peers at other credit unions and former colleagues at some of the big banks. But the tools you can get better at not paying for fraudulent traffic by having insights into what traffic source, what sources, what placements are generating the highest rate of fraud, or applications, I should say, that are flagged as fraud that never get booked. You can always. I think that's. I mean, for my team, that's the biggest benefit is understanding what is driving the fraudulent application flow and not invest there.
Yeah, there's also another element that I think it's worth thinking about is sometimes, Google will come back and give you recommendations on keywords. It's like, hey, you can get so much more traffic with these keywords, and they'll give you these recommendations. But, we need to recognize that Google is trying to maximize its own revenue,
exactly.
which is click driven. And, they don't have a notion of what is a quality applicant. So we've seen this with some other credit unions where Google came back with a bunch of keywords, and these keywords were applied to the campaign. And these were all keywords that frankly brought in terrible credit profiles. So, one of them stands out, personal loans, no guarantee, personal loans for bad credit, second chance auto loans, like, what is it, like pay now, drive off loans, that kind of stuff. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of people that, have gone through all the other lenders who are looking for somebody who's going to give them a loan, but that's not necessarily going to be lining up with your underwriting criteria.
Exactly.
And another question from Roger, and just confirm with me, Roger, that this is the correct question, but he's asking about a bit more about abandonment percentages, how you've kind of seen those changed in terms of people completing the apps, people actually going all the way through the process, during your time with us and just in general, and, how many people started the process versus finished it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna over the course of the year and a half we've been working with Alpharank, we've tripled the folks that are completing the app, and increasing substantially the percentage of folks who visit the website who then result in starting and completing an application. I'm actually looking on my screen here to see if I can find that number. We do see a good 20 to 30% completing the application who start it, and now with HubSpot in place, we're able to remarket prospects who abandon the application without completing it. As long as we've captured their email address, we're able to remarket them through ongoing drip campaigns, and we're seeing good results there too, and that helps better monetize the traffic that we're generating, to increase the overall conversion rate from it.
Awesome, thank you. That's all the questions for the time.
Fantastic. And we are at the bottom of the hour. So Aaron, time for some closing comments. I know you're very committed to the mission at Christian Community, so you're not looking to move. So if you had to share your top 3 tips and recommendations to the audience, what would those be?
Yeah, I mean, number one is, some of the frustrations that I've talked about that I experienced early on, here, some of the absence of visibility to the process and to the outcomes. I mean, I've met a lot of peers of mine who are grappling with the same things. I was at a marketing roundtable just a few months ago, listening to credit union CMO peers, many of who were blind to the outcomes that their strategies were generating, and being, you know, and they're frustrated. So it's through not having visibility to what you're generating, or understanding what opportunities there are to improve to optimize their journey, it can drive some discouragement and frustration. So I'm saying, I can say, if any of you on this call right now are experiencing that, you know, get in touch with Carlo, get in touch with the folks at Alpharank, because the insights and visibility they've given us to our strategies and their outcomes have been transformative for the business. So that's my number one takeaway for you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you so much for the enthusiasm, for the vision, and for the wealth of knowledge that from your current experience and your prior experiences that you have shared with the audience. So this has been amazing. Aaron, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and happy and warm and joyous holidays. You take care.
Thank you. Happy upcoming Thanksgiving to you.
You bet. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.